next talk is going to be about one of the largest foundations of India, of the Indian origin, the Hinduja Foundation. That's become a global name. They say that behind every success, there is a woman. And Hinduja Foundation is no exception. It was actually started by great-grandmother of Shanu Hinduja, who's our guest speaker today, Miss Ponchi Bai Hinduja, which was formalized by Mr. Permanent D. Hinduja, and now being led by the vision of Sri Chand B. Hinduja. Miss Shanu Hinduja is the chairman of this organization, and she represents all the big donations that are being carried out in the US and UK for institutions like Cambridge, Smithsonian, and Cambridge University, where it's being led for Ayurvedic research and things that are going to be really focusing on the two visions that the foundation originally had, which was about healthcare and education. What Ms. Shanu is doing is now taking that to the next level, which is taking that to women empowerment, alleviating poverty, and eliminating environmental causes. Ms. Hinduja comes from one of the most prestigious schools in Seed, where she was the recipient of advanced degree and award-winning. She's the top 50 candidates of her caliber in a class of 46,000. It's my honor and distinct pleasure to introduce somebody who cannot be more humble than Ms. Hinduja.
I'm just here to basically just share with you some of the things that I feel have helped me when I was given the responsibility of taking over some of the activities of the foundation under the leadership of my father, as Sushma mentioned, Mr. Srichand, who is still very much the group leader. And it's very humbling for me to be here today to represent him, his brothers, the family, our group, our foundation. Basically, we were lucky as a family to have my grandfather instill some guiding principles for us. And all our endeavors are based on those principles. And one of the most important one was that we work to give. Even as a young man, my grandfather was keenly aware of the debt he owed to society, the need to transcend commercial activities and extend help to those less fortunate. He regularly kept a portion of his profits aside for charity. He had great faith in the spirit of progress and believed that good health and education were not only essential for progress, but the fundamental rights of every human being. He used to say, my dharma is to give so that my dharma is to work so that I can give. The essence of this is that the best way of philanthropy is to bring solutions for the needs of the people. My grandmother Jamuna was not the one to sit on the sidelines. And maybe that's one of the reasons I feel that I have the female energy within my family and group to have me standing beside you here today. During the partition, as we all know, with the refugee situation, she decided that she would get some sewing machines and got them installed so that the young women who were displaced from their families would have the help to be self-empowered. And with the support of my grandfather, they initiated this movement. And as small as this may sound, I think it's been one of my greatest inspirations for leading the foundation forward. And from these first charitable endeavors, my grandparents and our family now understand, under the leadership of my father, we have built a wide impacting foundation which runs and benefits socially responsible schools and universities, clinics and hospitals, and aids other NGOs in arts and cultural preservation, social welfare, and disaster relief. I have expanded this focus also to climate change, as my father had already taken the initiation of being the founding member of His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco's foundation, which in fact I was just there yesterday in DC while he was receiving an award for his contribution to ocean preservation. As a third generation member of such a family, it would be easy for me to sit back and let the foundation continue its work without concerning myself about its impact. But I have witnessed firsthand how our efforts could change the lives of others, especially the underprivileged women, starting with my own grandmother's sewing shop. I cannot stop working in the same direction. I have found inspiration from the people around me. A small anecdote is about a lady who came to work to assist me when my daughter was born and was a widow. She had a young daughter, and she was led with a situation where she felt like she needed to sell the only thing she had, which was a small home, to support her brother. And at that moment, I realized that I was meant to do something about this and in this direction. This goes back now to almost 18 years. My daughter's 19. And it was the seed which helped me to understand that I need to bring some solutions to the table for situations like this. So I immediately got in touch with one of our group members and requested if we could find a solution for this gentleman who was not educated. And we got him a job at one of our Gulf petrol stations so that this lady, a widow with a young child, did not have to give up the only thing that she owned, which was a shelter over her roof. And as small as this may sound, I think it's been one of the reasons that I have been able to have the strength to see that how, due to my own personal experience of becoming a single woman, to be able to have the role of a father and a mother in my own children's life and become self-sufficient to bring that change for others too. So in my most humble way, I have tried to find a few things which I think could bring a big change. I have been speaking at the World Economic Forum for gender parity. And I found that one of the solutions that can be, and I would love to have participation in this, I haven't thought of how this is going to be implemented, but I thought this would be the perfect place to speak about it. And one of the requests that I have with everyone present here and also for others is really, I think, one of the main solutions that we need to bring to the table is to really start providing skills, which I know a lot of people, a lot of organizations, a lot of governments are already doing. But my humble request today over here is for us to launch a way together to try and create in our groups, in our organizations, a few jobs a year and to provide skills to people for that who may not have them and allocate those spaces. And even if we need to put certain conditions that once these skills are provided to these people, they would then, sort of commit themselves to work for a year, for 2 years, so that they bring back whatever has been, allocated to them. This is just a humble solution which I feel can also help to reduce poverty. It can create more economic growth, even for that single individual. And I further would like to pledge and plead everyone that if we can try to bring back the women, like myself, who took a break to have a family, got married, but to have the flexibility to come back. And maybe we can be more patient with them and let them have the chance to add to the economic growth of their individual families, which can then again further enhance the global economic growth. I believe it's always with a small seed that we have a tree and the fruits that come from it. And it's really about joining hands. There's a gentleman that we all know, Sir Bob Geldof. And I think he did a great job when he created the song for the whole situation, where I think he brought in people from a field, as we know, singers and artists, who put aside all their egos, their arrogance, and came together to create a song which brought such a big change. And I think that's what I would like to put forward over here, that we're all wanting to give back. We're all here because we want to bring a better world out there. So why not use each of our strengths to make that happen instead of duplication or wastage? So this is just a little suggestion, which I felt I should bring out over here with all of you. I mean, as far as our group is concerned, as far as our activities are concerned, we can always speak about them later. But I didn't feel like standing here and bragging about what our family has done. I think in our own way, we're all doing the same. But now it's a question of us trying to move forward and creating platforms which can bring certain solutions to the table. So what I suggested here is just a couple of ideas that I felt could help. And I would be really happy if we could all communicate, learn from each other, try to see how we can work on the bigger picture that we're all here for. I feel like we're pieces of a bigger puzzle, and we were made different. We had to be different so that we could come together and bring oneness. I've never wanted to say that a woman has to be like a man or a man has to be like a woman. There has to be a difference to bring oneness. And to me, it's all about that. So with further ado, I mean, if there is something more that y'all would like to know about our foundation, about our group, I would be very happy to take any questions afterwards. But I'd like to share a very personal secret with you. I've learned that the way to become self-empowered is to control the mind. How can we not allow negative ways to interfere with our thought process? By allowing ourselves to find and be led by the light which exists within each and every one of us. And I truly believe in that. We all have a higher self, and that is the key to self-empowerment, to allow the light within us to gain control over the mind, which automatically enables us to be self-empowered. This is my equation to happiness, and I have practiced it, and I'm living by it. And I try very hard each and every day of my life to allow this to be the focus that moves me forward. In our group, we have my father and his 3 brothers, Gopichand, Prakash, Ashok. In my generation, which is now the 3rd generation, we have myself, my sister, who is heading healthcare, has in fact been my greatest inspiration. And she has led the hospital to greater heights, which was started by my grandfather as a refugee dispensary. And today we can say we have treated 1 million patients for free. So on that note, we are furthering this cause, and we're hoping to set up and expand the medical kiosks to also include other facilities for education, for the reach of water in villages and rural areas. And this can be duplicated in any country, anywhere with this need. So thank you so much for having me here. I am really, really humbled, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you.